and today I'm going to talk to you about 6 essential tips for beginners who are learning to paint. My name is Joy Fay. I'm a professional artist and teacher, and my passion is sharing art. I love it. And what's so interesting to me, so many people say to me that they can't draw and they can't paint and they want to. Now, this video is going to be great for you if you're just starting out, or if you've been painting for a while and you just need a good reminder of the basics. So I hope it's going to be helpful for you. Everyone can paint and draw. If you can pick up a pen and write, you can draw. If you know red, yellow and blue, you can paint. It's just a question of putting that in a process so you know what you do, developing a skill, if you like, but it's a natural thing for us to do. Man has been drawing since the word dot, you know, from cave drawings all the way through. It's a natural form of communication and expression. You know, as children, we just did it without thinking. It's a shame that as we've grown up, you know, we've judged ourselves for being not good enough, or we can't, or someone's told us that something is rubbish, and it's demotivated us and we've stopped doing it. So I hope through this video I'm going to be able to show you the simplicity of getting back into that creative space so you can enjoy this wonderful world of art and painting and drawing. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first tip that I'm going to discuss with you is really about preparation. I call it focus. So let's put focus on here. And, you know, obviously this is a new venture for you, or maybe you've been painting for a while, but, you know, you need some extra motivation. But it's really good to kind of get prepared and focus your mind to be in the creative mode. So one of the things that I would very much suggest that you have is a sketchbook. Your sketchbook is really essential to what you're going to be doing with your art. You know, you'll have it there and you can use it, and it's wonderful to see your progress when you look at the things that you were doing at the beginning, and then as you progress you can see your improvement. So okay, so we get focus, we want to be in the creative mode, and we have our sketchbook. Now, some people say, oh my God, what am I going to put in my sketchbook? You know, I'm not good enough, I don't know how to do this, da 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 da. So let's hit that on the head before we start. My philosophy, if you like, about painting is, if you imagine a ruler, and at one end of the ruler you have skill, and the other end of the ruler you have creativity. Now the idea is to bring those two things together. Now, I'd be a millionaire if I had a euro or a dollar or a pound for everybody who says to me, oh, I've got no imagination, I can't create, or on the other hand, I can't draw, I don't know, you know, where to start. So I'm going to show you how you can bring those two things together so you can really start making some lovely paintings and express yourself to create the paintings that you want. So to begin with, focus. You want to take a deep breath, you want to prepare yourself, have your sketchbook and a pen or a pencil. And if you like, we're moving from the left side of the brain to the right side of the brain. The right side of the brain is our creative space. And one of my favorite teachers of all time, who I've studied many years ago, but I still use it in my classes to help people to draw, is the Betty Edwards book, Drawing on the Right Side of Your Brain, because it really, really helps you shift from that kind of limiting beliefs of I can't, to finding and discovering that just through looking in a different way and thinking about things in a different way, moving into the creative side, the right side, you're open and free to do what you want. Now, one of the first exercises that I really suggest that you try, it's a little bit like going to the gym. You want to warm up. You have to warm up your muscles. Well, in the same way, you have to warm up your brain to drawing. And to validate what I'm going to show you is, for example, Leonardo da Vinci used to scribble and do all kinds of little designs down the margins of his work. And that's what I'm going to suggest that you do to start off with in your sketchbook. Now, that can just be scribbling. You're just going to do some, interesting scribbles of shapes, just to loosen you up. It doesn't have to be anything. We're not looking at this as being something that, has got to be right or wrong. It's just scribbling. But what's interesting about scribbling is that you start to see some natural shapes happening. And you can see here, for example, there's a circle happening here. There's, if you like, there's a bit of a square happening here. There's triangles happening here. I could do this. And our circles, our triangles and our squares are our basic shapes. And everything has a shape. So even naturally, without thinking about it, you've already started to put together some kind of drawing. So the next thing that we want to have a look at is intention. So we'll put here, intention. Okay. Now, whether or not it is that you want to paint abstracts, or you want to do landscapes or flowers, or whatever it is that you want to do, to have an intention, again, focuses your mind. It puts you in the right space. So when you start to think about what it is that you love painting or you want to paint, and to expand that slightly, then, I suggest that you start looking at different artists' work. The internet has everything. So, from Stone Age painting all the way through to, whatever is happening in the field now. I have my favorites, but you start looking at the things that you like, and it helps build your confidence and your understanding of painting. But we're going to come to that in a lot more detail on another video. But set your intention. You want to paint whatever it is, X, Y, Z. So you're moving your energy to that point. The next thing is to get actually prepared. So, what are you going to need? So let's put here prepared. So obviously you're going to need some pencils, some brushes, a pencil sharpener and paints. Now, recommendation. The tendency is to rush out and buy everything, every colour under the sun, all the different brushes. Well, I would say you don't need to do that. What you need to do is to just get a limited amount of brushes and a limited amount of paints. Let me show you. For me, I basically have 5 brushes that I use all the time. The first one is a little gesso brush. It's a nice soft brush, but it's great for an awful amount of things. Everything more or less I can do with that little brush, whether it's a landscape or whether it's an abstract. So a little gesso brush, a little flat brush, which is really kind of a smaller version of that. And I have one in between. Don't use that one quite so much, but those two kind of are essential. Then I have a rigger brush, which is a brush with a very, very fine point, and you can do lots of interesting, nice things with that. And I have a fan brush. I love this fan brush. You can do, again, lots of things. So I haven't got a lot of brushes. You don't need a lot of brushes. Just a few to start off with, and then, as you gain confidence, you can increase the amount that you have. But actually, I have stacks of brushes, but I use basically those 5. The next thing to think about is your paints. Now, when you're beginning, you know, you want to kind of think of a limited palette. Our basic colours, red, yellow and blue. Now from red, yellow and blue we can mix everything. So my suggestion is to get a couple of blues, a couple of reds and a couple of yellows. So the blue, maybe get an ultramarine blue and a cobalt blue. With your reds, get a cadmium red and a crimson red. With your yellows, get a lemon yellow and a yellow ochre. You don't need more than that to start with, other than a really good titanium white and a black. Those are the only colours that you need to start with. Basically, you can mix everything from those three colours. So let me write those down. I've got it here as prepared. When you first start off, you want to be thinking about how you're going to compose your pictures. So I'm going to put here the importance, we've talked about it already a bit, but your sketchbook. Your sketchbook gives you the ability to do so many things. Your scribble drawings, creative stuff, and I'm going to go into that in a lot more detail in another video. We're just kind of covering the 6 essential tips to begin with, and then I can go into depth with these later. But in your sketchbook, whatever you're going to do, you want to be able to make notes of the things. Now, how would I say it? It's really, to start with, when you're first looking at a picture, say you've got a photograph of something that you want to paint, and you know there's quite a lot going on in it. You want to narrow it down into how you're going to put that onto your paper. And the best way of doing this is sketching your thumbnails. Now, what are thumbnails? They're not these, by the way. You could say they're like little boxes. So if, for example, you were going to do a landscape, then you know you can sketch off how that's going to work. If your you know, your composition, how it will fix in your painting. So you do little sketches of your of the picture that you want to do. Okay, so again, with your sketchbook, you need to do that. The next very important thing is to have a look at your composition. So let's put here, let's just put composition. The composition can make or break a picture. Now, the more you understand about composition, the more A, your paintings will improve, and B, you'll appreciate other people's paintings, because you'll start to look for it in every painting that you see. So composition is like the key. How do we understand composition? Well, very, very simply, you have to prepare your, start off with your thumbnail by preparing a small grid. Now, what is that grid? Basically, we're dividing the canvas or the paper into thirds. So if I take this little box here, I'm going to put one here and one here. That's a third of the top. If I have a look down the side, I'm going to do a third here and a third there. Okay, do it on the other side, and we join these up. Okay, sorry, the lines are a bit wonky, but this gives us a directive for our composition. The mistake that most beginner artists make is to go directly to the center. Compositionally, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work. Why? Because your eye has got nowhere to go. So when you do this small grid, your eye can follow round from these touching points. So you can really travel around the picture. So if you're putting together a landscape, for example, you might do something very simple, but on those points, you know, you might put a tree, you might put a fence going in, you might put clouds. So on those points are focal points, and it helps your composition tell the story. If you go just to the middle, the eye has got nowhere to go. So I hope that makes sense for your very basics of composition. The sixth one, and the most important again, when you're putting together your picture, is where is the light coming from? Sorry, this has fallen down. Let's put that up again. So when we're looking at the light, we want to kind of really know where the light's coming from. Forget that, doesn't matter. Now, if we know where our light is, then we've got light and shade in our painting. So if we just take this small little diagram, if our light is coming from here, right, then our shadow is going to be here. So you add a dimension to your picture. Your light is important because that gives you all your lights and shades in your picture. So I hope that covers some of the basics of putting a picture together. First of all, our focus, right? Get into the right mindset. Take a deep breath, relax, and let go. Start scribbling. Do some lovely little scribbles and stuff in your sketchbook. Find the shapes, maybe define some of the shapes. You know, it's the beginning of an abstract painting, if you like, and I'll talk to you about that on another video. But you know, there might be some shapes that you really like that develop out of your scribbling. Don't ignore it. It's, you know, you might say it's very childlike. Well, yes, actually it is. But children have great fun when they're drawing and painting, and they don't care what anybody says. They're just enjoying the process. And that's the point for you. Set your intention. Have a feel about what you want to produce, so you've got a direction. Get prepared. Get your brushes and your paints. Have your space ready for painting. So you're focused, you're nice and relaxed, you've got everything prepared, you've done some nice little thumbnails in your sketchbook, you've looked at your composition, and you know where the light is. You can't go wrong if you put all those things into practice from the outset, and it'll set you off absolutely on the right foot for your painting. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful. Please leave some comments or questions in the box below. Like it, and thumbs up if you do, and subscribe to my channel, and then you'll get some more tutorials and helpful tips about having a fantastic time with your painting. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. See you next time.